Hello. We are interviewing today Safeen Dizayee, head of the Kurdistan Regional Government's Department of Foreign Relations. Minister Dizayee, welcome to Washington.
Thank you.
This is your second trip here and as head of the Kurdistan Regional Government's Department of Foreign Relations, and your first visit during the Biden administration. How has this trip been different from your previous visits, and would you say they're more the same or more different?
Well, thank you very much. Different, definitely. The first visit was not long after the formation of the current government in November 2019. At that time, it was a different administration, and circumstances were different, and issues on the table were different. Currently, there's a new administration, some new faces for sure. I would say the strategy more or less is the same, but it's the approach and the personal touch of the individuals on the case. And let's not forget the gap that was there during the pandemic. That also affected this, our extending out to the outside world. So this visit, I think it was very important. And at the same time, we have to also accept the fact that a lot of water has gone under the bridge, and maybe priorities have changed, such as the Ukraine and Russian conflict, China, and many other issues that is a priority for the United States. However, the Middle East still remains to be important for the United States, and Iraq and Kurdistan are equally important.
You had a number of meetings at the State Department. You had many meetings, in fact. How did they go?
I must say they all went extremely well. There is still a great deal of sympathy and support. I must also say they may be somewhat not necessarily disappointed, but at least they tend to tell us very openly and clearly that we should do more in terms of certain reforms, particularly in the Ministry of Peshmerga Affairs, and our grievances within the country politically, and relations between Erbil and Baghdad. They are very supportive of that these issues should be resolved, and efforts to come to an amicable end and solution very quickly.
Your relations with Baghdad under the current government, the Sudani government, are much better than they were previously. Did the administration acknowledge that? Thank you for that? Appreciate that?
Very much so. I think the political climate between Erbil and Baghdad, and particularly with Prime Minister Sudani, is extremely good. We are very happy with this relation between Erbil and Baghdad with Prime Minister Sudani, and it's been acknowledged by Washington and by other Western friends. However, it's the relation with the Prime Minister, but not necessarily with Baghdad as a whole.
I see. So you're trying to expand that beyond him, but right now it's more with the Prime Minister.
Indeed.
And you had a lot of meetings on Capitol Hill. How did they go?
We met some old friends. They are always as supportive as they could be. The Kurdish caucus and some new friends, some new faces who may be very new on the case. However, as much as we could, briefly we informed them about the situation, and there is sympathy and there is support. I believe in general in all of our meetings on the Hill and the State Department and the White House went extremely well. Much of the work has to be done by ourselves for sure, but we believe there is support and there is sympathy, and what they defined, or what we felt that they still see us as a strategic friend and ally in the region.
There has long been bipartisan support in Congress for the Kurdistan Regional Government, and that's what you experienced on this trip?
Yes, indeed, and especially from some key people. That was very clear, and it was felt in that way, yes.
And you were at the White House too?
Yes, we had a meeting, and that was perhaps more detailed, more clear. We put our case and our grievances and how we should go about in addressing some of those issues, and we felt that they are supportive of the ideas or the issues that we are trying to fix some of those issues, both internally in Kurdistan and also Erbil, Baghdad.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about. The United States wants to see good ties between the two major Kurdish parties, to have elections held in a timely fashion, and that's pretty much arranged now, isn't it?
Election is a must. Under the most difficult circumstances back in 1992, when the uprising had just started, and we were very new in this, let's say, process, we had our first election, and it went extremely well at that time. Backtracking on that, it is not in anybody's interest. We believe in democracy, we believe in the same values and principles of our Western friends and the United States. Therefore, election is a must. It's an important part of the democratic process. And we have asked and seek support from all of our friends that they should help us to proceed with this electoral process, which seems to have faced certain legal issues and technical issues. The idea is that the presidency of Kurdistan should address or call upon the Iraqi Electoral Commission for them to help us to conduct the election. There is a communication between both sides. Apparently, they have set some dates for early 2024. Hopefully, it can take place earlier than that. But if not, at least it should be starting at earnest at that particular time, early 2024.
Well, that would certainly be a positive development. Another important issue deals with the oil and budget. What is the status of that, and what is the U.S. position on that?
The oil that has been produced and exported from Kurdistan via Turkey, obviously it has been interrupted and has ceased for the export since 25th of March this year, and it has cost Kurdistan and Iraq a great deal. Over $3 billion have been lost. As part of the budget law that has been passed in the Iraqi federal parliament recently, it obliges KRG to produce 400,000 and export it, or the mechanism to export it through SOMO or through whatever mechanism. But now there is no export. That means the obligation is there, but we cannot deliver. And the problem is not with KRG. It's an issue between Turkey and Iraq. Therefore, Washington is very much supportive of the idea that this issue should be settled as soon as possible, and the resumption of export of oil should take place as soon as possible. There are negotiations between Erbil and Baghdad, and we hope that there will be serious negotiation between Baghdad and Ankara in order to come to a solution where the export can resume as soon as possible. Budget law has been passed, but in terms of implementation, it has not taken place yet. The budget law is for 3 years. Hopefully this will bring some economical stability to all of Iraq. But in terms of the fair share of Kurdistan, it has not been implemented, so we are already in arrears of paying IOCs. We are already in arrears of paying our civil servants. Therefore, the communication between Erbil and Baghdad is ongoing. We have a delegation in Baghdad in order to have a breakthrough, and at least certain obligations, financial obligations towards Kurdistan should be met as a result of the lack of export of oil.
So this stalemate has put economic pressure on the Kurdistan region, is that?
Unfortunately, yes, it is beginning to have an effect, but we are optimistic that the negotiations will find a way out of this deadlock.
Well, hopefully will work out. Also, the head of the Chaldean Church, Cardinal Sacco, was recently subject to some abuse and mistreatment in Baghdad, and he's gone to Erbil. Religious tolerance is very important to the United States. The Kurdistan regional government has consistently demonstrated its commitment to religious tolerance. Was that an issue here on your trip? Did the U.S. have U.S. officials have positive words for that?
I think we are proud of what we have in Kurdistan, and it's not just very recent, or as a result of certain laws that has been passed. It's a conviction of individuals deep down that they have lived together with various creeds and colors and faiths in the past for millennia. Therefore, We are proud of the coexistence of different communities together. And as you very well know, during the ISIS onslaught in 2014, we accommodated 2 million people from Iraq and from Syria, IDPs and refugees. It increased our population by 30% in a matter of 6 months, and at a cost of $1.4 billion annually to KRG to maintain and to for the upkeep of these IDPs and refugees. So it was a burden, but we did that with pride, and we still believe that Kurdistan is a haven for all of those who want to live in peace and in peaceful coexistence. Unfortunately, what happened with Cardinal Sacco, it was totally unnecessary. He is in Erbil, he is welcome. We consider him to be in his own home. Erbil is his home. He's actually was born in Zakho, so Kurdistan is his home. This issue, yes, in some of the meetings, the concerns were raised, and it was highly appreciated that Kurdistan has welcomed him. And particularly at the State Department, the relevant authorities in the State Department, the issues of communities, other components was also deeply discussed, particularly with the Yazidis and the Christians.
Well, that is very good to hear. And it's also a remarkable statement about the caring quality of the Kurdistan regional government towards those in need. Is there anything else we should be discussing, or have we covered all the major issues?
I think we've covered all of them, but what I felt, to be honest, this interaction is important. My last visit was 2019, and as I said, pandemic had an effect in the disruption of this communication. A month ago, the Minister of Interior, His Excellency Rebar Ahmed, was here. I'm here now, and I hope that it will not be too long when we will have other delegations coming in at various levels. By the same token, we would like to see delegations from USA to visit us. Recently, we have Chamber of Commerce. Not long ago, we have Secretary of Defense and Assistant Secretary of State. So we are happy, and we want to continue and maintain this traffic.
Well, that sounds very good. Thank you very much for sitting down with us and discussing all these important issues.
Thank you.